What's going on, guys? Today is going to be a a dirt bike video. Sorry, I'm still a little sick. I'm getting better. I can feel a whole lot of it moving out of my chest. So I'm coughing a bunch of it up. So just bear with me. Today, since it's cold, it's going to be cold here soon. And it might be snowing a little bit. It's going to be a little icy. And, I plan on riding in that a little bit. I want to have a little bit of fun in the snow, if it ever does snow. So for that, you want to have your bike, your center of gravity needs to be lower so that it's not as easy to tip. And if your wheel comes out, you want to be able to flat foot easily so you don't wreck your crap real quick. So what I'm going to do is I have my suspension pretty high. It's not near as high as it could be, but it's pretty high. But what I'm going to do is going to loosen this top piece. I don't know if you can see that. There's a lot of sun. But there's two little very big like washer looking nuts, and the top one is a lock nut that spins, presses on the bottom one, don't let it spin. They have spanner wrenches for these, but if you're broke and don't really want to spend money on it like me, things you will need: screwdriver, check, flathead screwdriver, and some persuasive tactics, check. And all you do, take your screwdriver, put it on the tooth of the top lock one, and use your persuasion, knock it free. And then once you get a little bit of separation between that, this bottom one will turn fairly easy unless there's a whole lot of tension from the spring. Then you'll have to kind of peck it a little bit. But normally if you take the suspension and you lift the bike up to where the swing arm isn't putting as much pressure on the spring, you can just about grab with your hand down here at the spring, and the tension from the spring up here will hold static onto this, and you can spin the spring and this whole bottom piece will spin. That is the goal. It looks like this is an awful tight spot, and it is. But really, it's easy to do if you have one of these. If you had an actual tool to do it with, you honestly might have to take more off than if you just use a screwdriver to peck it. But a spanner wrench, it just looks like a boxed in opening wrench, but it's got little teeth that grab into these little slots. I still don't know if you can see it. I hope you can. I can't tell because of the sun. But it just grabs these teeth and you just turn it like a regular wrench. Or you can just use a screwdriver, like I said, and peck this top piece over, and then the bottom one will start being able to move. And if you want to tension your spring, make your suspension stiffer and taller, you peck it and you rise this down. If you want it to be softer and lower to the ground, you bring it up, which is what I'm going to do so that I can lower my center of gravity and keep myself upright a little easier. And once I do that, once I break this top piece loose, I'll get back with you. Okay, that took literally like 10 seconds. This piece is very loose. I can spin it with my fingers. So I get that in my desired spot, and then pretty much just get it out of the way. You can lower it back down. I mean, it spins freely either way. Get it into the position you want it, and for now, just pretty much get it out of the way. And then, let's see, you can okay, well, the suspension is gonna, there's a little bit too much tension on it, and turning the spring is just, it's not turning the bottom. But that's no big deal. Just use your flathead screwdriver and your persuasive device, and you just crank it by hand with the screwdriver and persuasive, and it, you know, if you raise this, you lower the bike, and that lowers the whole back end. And if you want to, you can break these two loose and the other two on the other side, and then these two and the other two on the other side, and you can raise your forks up and lower your front end to level the bike out more. I'm probably not going to fool around with the front very much. I might lower it a little bit, but I'm still not sure. But the back is very easy, so I'm just going to go ahead and get that knocked out. But I know that this is probably kind of a goofy video, and a lot of y'all already know what this does and how to do it. But, you know, some people are just so particular in doing it right, you don't realize how easy it can be if you just rig it up and do it with a screwdriver and a little bit of persuasive hammering. You can do it super easy. As if you have a hammer and a screwdriver that you don't use just laying around, I mean, from other than buying a screwdriver, or if you have to buy a hammer, if you've already got it, then you can do this for free, rather than going out and spending money on a spanner and then having to take airbox off, seat off, and who knows what else, probably the carburetor. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it. I'm gonna get back once I lowered it to where I think it should be, and then I will get back with you. Okay, this is what I was talking about. I've loosened it up enough to where I can grab a hold down here on the spring itself and turn it, and the whole thing, that nut itself turns, so I don't have to get your hand in there or peck with a screwdriver and hammer for a very long time. You can just grab it and spin the spring, and this spring is dirty, so my hands are getting nasty. But if you ride dirt bikes, especially a two-stroke, you know that stuff like that and just oil nastiness is a part of it. But yeah, that's whenever you get a certain amount of tension took off of it, you can just grab it from the spring, which where this one is greasy, it's a little harder, but you just grab it by the spring and spin the spring, and sometimes it won't. A lot of times it will though, and it'll turn that bottom nut, and you can, it's a lot easier. You have more space down here than you do up here around the nuts. So I just wanted to show y'all that. I'm going to go back to loosening it up to where I think it needs to be, and I'll get back. Okay, so as you can see, I've dropped the suspension down almost, well, probably close to an inch. Now, I will say that an inch higher, it's not an inch higher, an inch lower in the rear. An inch higher here can drop it several inches. It relieves this spring tension, and you can lower your bike very, very far. You can see that my rear suspension has dropped a lot. I can easily flat foot the bike now, which will help if it starts to slide on the rear tire. If the front wheel slides, you just hold on. I mean, or just get out from under the bike. Or, yeah, it's just gonna, you really can't save a whole lot whenever the front wheel breaks loose. You're pretty much just along for the ride. If you can get off of it, just kind of stand up, then you might not take a spill, but 9 times out of 10, if that front wheel washes out, you're taking a spill. Yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. I've got it to where I think it should be. I might end up actually raising it a little bit because my exhaust will probably start rubbing on the wheel. But if it don't, that's probably where it's going to stay. I do have my little sister went, I don't know if it was Chuck E. Cheese's or where, but she got a little whistle thing that you put in your mouth and you blow on it and it squeals, and I figured I've got a little funny idea that if I would make something to put that into my tailpipe and see if you could hear it whistling or squealing whenever I start the bike. And that would probably be the next video or a video really soon. I've got to get a little bit of gas for the bike. So that'll be a video coming up. Not really like a serious video, just something goofy to do. One just to know. I know that like Jake and McFarland, Cletus made a video of the turbo whistles in exhausts of Cletus's Corvette, and Jake put one in his FZ07 to see if you could hear it, and neither one of them you could hear real well, if at all. On video you couldn't hear it at all. So I wonder if the little whistle will sound different, or if you can hear it over the exhaust. There will be every bit of exhaust will either have to come through a leak or that whistle. So it's bound to make some sort of a noise or just blow the whistle out. Also, I've been thinking if I can come upon a small chunk of change, I might get either a 225 big bore kit or a 240 big bore kit for the bike. I'm still not too awful sure. They're like, from what I could tell, like $300, $250, $300 for like the 225. I couldn't get a whole lot on the 240 kit, but I've read that the 225 kit brings a lot of power to the motor. Like it just wakes it up a whole lot. You gain lower end and everything, which is what this bike needs. It needs some low end grunt with this pipe on it. It's really, really fast, but it don't have that low end torquey grunt that the stock pipe had. So with the 225 kit, you're supposed to gain bottom end and keep that top end speed and gain a little bit of top speed. So I might do that instead of just buying a stock 200 rebuild for the top end. I might just buy a big bore for it. That's what my buddy did. It's cheaper to buy a big bore kit than it is to buy. He had a CRF 450R that blew up, and he found out that a 485 or 482 or 483 big bore kit was actually cheaper than buying a stock 450 Honda top end. So he just went and put a big bore kit on it, and I'm telling you what, I rode that bike. It is a monster. If you don't know how to ride, if you do not know how to work the clutch and throttle really well, that bike will put you in the dirt. But it was a lot of fun. It was scary, but it was that really just wake up. It was adrenaline scary. Yeah, so I might do the 225 or the 240. I'm not sure yet. I wish they had a 250. I would love to make this thing into a 250, but I don't want to. I'm not going to buy a KX 250 motor to throw in this thing. For one, I don't know if it would fit, and two, I don't have the kind of money to buy a full 250 motor. If the 250 top end will bolt to this thing's lower or bottom end, let me know in the comments. And if it will, I will try my best to find a top end out of a 250 KX. This is a 96. I'll try to find one similar. Just let me know in the comments below. Also, I need one of these. This Boss is like $80, and this whole thing is kind of clapped out. It lays back way too far. I can weld it, but I would rather just buy another one for a cheaper price than stock. But let me know. That's going to be it for this video. I will see you next time.